Dzień dobry, dobry wieczór. Witamy Was w kolejnej rozmowie na kanale Crosscheck Ice Hockey Podcast. I na początku taka lekka może notka. I będzie to pierwsza rozmowa, którą przeprowadzamy w języku angielskim. Dla wszystkich, którzy słuchają nas na Spotify i nie są za pan brat z tym językiem, zapraszamy na YouTube, gdzie będą dostępne napisy. Także tam na spokojnie z polskimi napisami będziecie mogli sobie ten wywiad obejrzeć. A dlaczego po angielsku dowiecie się tego za chwilę. So, hello once again.
Hi, hi.
Here today with me is defender of Unia Oświęcim, Polish champion Roman Dukow. Hello, Roman.
Hi, Tomek. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. So let's do it. Let's start.
Okay. So always in our interviews, we would like to start from the very beginning of your hockey journey.
Mm-hmm.
So please tell us, how did it started with you and hockey in Belarus?
Well, that was a long time ago, so I didn't...
you're not so old.
Yeah, I know, but it's still like I remember I was like sick a lot when I was a kid, and when I get sick again, like we go to the doctor and he said like you have to put him somewhere like on sport, maybe swimming, maybe hockey, maybe somewhere, I don't know.
And how old were you when it happened?
6 years. 6
Okay.
years old, almost 7, something like that. And my mother's friend was a coach in hockey arena, so that was easy choice for us. Like nobody asked me actually. They just put me on hockey. I was like, okay, like yeah, that was like this. And that was a fun story because like I go in there like for maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 times, and my parents buy me like almost all equipment. Like, and after 4th time, I was like, no, I'm not gonna go there anymore because I don't like it. Because you know, first practice was like just step around the boards. You take that chair and just go around, and it's nothing interesting for 6 years old kid. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna go there anymore. And I was like, no, we buy you full equipment, so you have to, you have to, buddy.
No. That was their leverage. So.
Yeah, no chance for you. Like, yeah, that was fun.
Okay, and you told about hockey, swimming. So, was there any other sports apart from hockey?
No, there was when I started hockey. There was only hockey in my life. Like maybe I played for school soccer, but there was 1 year. Just for fun, nothing special. Like you know, there was only hockey in my life.
Okay, and you are a defender, obviously. So you started playing as a defender, or how did it happen? Because
yeah, that was easy as well. Like my parents put me on a hockey. My first coach put me on the defense, and nobody asked me like because I know like Swedish and Finnish guys, they play like whatever we want, like forward or defender or goalie till like 12 or 11 years. And in Belarus and Russia, nobody asks you. Like, coach see you like a little bit bigger than average, you're gonna be defensive, defensive player. You're a little bit smaller, you have to be forward, and just like this. Yeah, there was like this.
So who you need to be to become a goalie from the very beginning?
I don't know.
Maybe crazy.
Yeah. But like almost everyone, when you kid, you want to be goalie because it looks so good when you put that equipment. It looks nice, you know, and everyone wants to be a goalie.
Well, your parents already bought you an equipment, so there was no
discussion. So yeah, I don't have any choice, like, you know.
Okay, and we are in your, let's say, youth years. So how does it look like in Belarus about the development system and everything about kids playing hockey? A lot of kids plays hockey in Belarus.
Yeah, there was a big like boom, you know, big explosive time, and at the end of 90s, they started building arenas all over the country, and everyone wants to put his kid on hockey because it's like there was cool time for it. Like everyone, our national team playing well that time. Like a lot of guys playing in NHL that time. Like I mean, the Belarus guys. And yeah, that was a tough time because no equipment in the country. No, it's tough question with equipment, and everyone tried to find a way to buy it somewhere. And yeah, I didn't remember about the development, and just there was a just group of guys. My years, we just came to the practice like 2 or 3 times a week, something like that, and that's it. Like nothing special, you know. Just
okay, but is there some kind of I don't know, central supervising of a development system in Belarus, or it's just local by the clubs?
yeah, it's by the clubs. I mean, like nothing. Maybe now it's a little bit different. I don't know, but like it was I don't know, 18 years ago. So it was like, you know, just nothing special.
Okay.
Like
So it's just like in Poland.
yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like yeah.
Okay. So you started playing in a senior team of Junost Minsk. Am I pronouncing correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were 18. So is it often that such young players has a chance that young age?
Actually, like, for my opinion, I start when I was 17, something
Okay.
like that.
Maybe Elite Prospects is lying.
Yeah, maybe because there was that thing, because Yunus one season they play in second Russian league in VHL.
VHL.
Yeah, and I was 17 when I make the debut there, because at the end of the season they didn't make the playoff. They lose any chances, and they start to invite the young players on the team for some experience, and I was there like probably when I was 17, something like that. It's for me, like, it's okay if you deserve the chance, if you playing well in second team, like, why not? For me, like, maybe it's not too often, like, but now in Belarusian hockey, it's pretty often, I think.
Okay, because I've read on hockeyarchives.info that they described you as is emerged as a talented defenseman and one of the brightest prospects in Belarus. Went through all the stages of Belarus national team, under 18, under 20 and the senior team, solid size and smartness, gained interest from several North American clubs.
Is this about me?
Yeah. I've checked it, yeah.
Okay. I know.
So this is how he was described by
nice.
Probably some scout from North America.
Good.
Okay. So then you've played a few seasons in Belarus, and season 15-16. It was very successful for you, actually. You became Belarus champion, awarded best playoffs young player, and selected to the national team for a world championship. And how was it like to play on such big tournament?
There was a like big season for me. Like, there was probably turning point for my whole career, because it's, if you talk about the world championship and top division, there was a pretty big experience for 20 years old guy, you know, because like, I don't know how in different countries, but in Belarus, if you make the roster of the national team in 20 years, you're like, it's tough to do, you know. And of course there was a sick atmosphere, like, organization question was on the top level, and of course, like, there was a lot of guys who's now superstars in the NHL, like, for example, like McDavid was there, Marchand was there, like Larkin, Matthews, Laine, Barkov, Aho, a lot of guys, like, I mean, and it's cool to play against him, like, you know, especially after the Belarusian league, you come there and you was like, wow, yeah, that's a different world. Yeah, that was a cool experience for me.
Yeah, as you told, it's tough to do the roster at 20 years old. Polish team is just before the World Championship in top division, and there are no 20 years old guys, maybe Maciej brothers, but not a lot of them. So as you told, it was big accomplishment, yeah. And the most of the career in Belarus you spent in Minsk, your hometown, and how does it feel to play for your hometown? Is it any difference than playing for the team abroad?
You know, it's it was a long time ago. Like now, I played all my teams like abroad. Like, but like I remember, yeah, it's cool because you stay at home. Like you want to go to your family, to your parents. You want to go to your grandparents. Like you can do it like every day if you want. It's cool. Like present your city, your home club. It's great. Like for me, of course, if you have an opportunity to play home, like you have to play home. Like yeah, simple as that. But yeah, that's great. Like it's for me, it's probably better than go somewhere. Like yeah.
Okay, so you would like to come back.
No, I mean like if you play in like for example if you're from Minsk and you play in Minsk, it's great. But if you're from Minsk and you go play to somewhere, I don't know, like Saligorsk or somewhere, it's I mean like this one inside the league. But if you go to another league, it's of course it's great because you've got a new experience. It's you get me wrong.
Okay. So in Belarus, the hockey is very popular. So are there any other sports that are, let's say, as popular as hockey, or the hockey is the national number one top sport, and there is no competition, let's say?
Yeah, hockey it's number one sports, like 100%, because a lot of money in there, like every year, like huge money going there. Only like maybe gymnastic or how is that in English? Like biathlon, you know? Yeah, maybe these two, and the other one, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about Belarusian soccer. I mean, like, yeah, of course, I know a couple teams, but
they are not so successful. And popular.
They probably play a couple times in Champions League, but not. I mean, like not playoffs. You know, just the start, then 2 games, and the off. Yeah, you know.
Soccer is national sport in Poland, and most Polish teams are the same. So,
I know.
Yeah, and the season after the championship and world championship in top division, you've landed in the USA in ECHL. And how this move actually happened, if you can tell us about the background.
There was pretty easy. The general manager of the Calgary Flames was general manager of Team Canada as well. I didn't remember the name, but the last name was Treleving. They fired him like a couple years ago, but he asked me if we can do some meeting before the game, like against Canada. I did well, like, because you know when you play in Team Belarus, you didn't have any chance against Canada. We lose like 0, like 8 or 9-0, something like that. But like for my opinion, I played well. And after the game, like my agent called me and he was like, he want to meet you in a hotel room somewhere, like to speak with you about your future. I was like, wow, wow. you work, you play all your career for this maybe conversation with general manager of the NHL team, you know. And of course, I I came there and we just speak about like if I want to go there, if I want to present the organization. I was like, of course, yeah, of course I want to go there. Like, and then during the summer I go into a development camp to the Calgary Flames, and Chicago Blackhawks invite me as well. I go in there as well, and after this in June or July, I've got 2 options on the table, like 2 years AHL with the Blackhawks and 2 years AHL with the Flames. There was a Stockton Heat and Rockford Icehawks. And I picked the Calgary for 1 year. For some reason, I don't know why. Like maybe because it's it's 10,000 kilometers from
Yeah,
home,
of
and you
course.
never know what's gonna happen there, and it's difficult for a 20 years old guy, like new country, new. It's crazy change in your life, and I pick 1 year in Calgary. I mean, like AHL deal. I came there like on main camp, and they like sent me down to the AHL, maybe last group of guys they sent
Mhm.
me, and I was like, maybe they re-signed me to NHL deal. Like, why not? I played there. Like, I practicing there well. I played 2 exhibition games
Mhm.
against Winnipeg and Edmonton. There was tough experience as well, like that, but it's pretty fun. And after that, they sent me to AHL. They give me the 2 exhibition games there, and I played, like for my opinion, I played well. And after that, they called me to coach's office and was like, you have to feel that North American hockey, so we gonna send you to the East Coast. We put some scout on you, like we're gonna watch you, so like you have to do the 20 shots per game, 20 hits per game, like 20 intercept per game. I was like, okay, got you guys. Like, and I go there, and after that, they call me once up to the AHL. I just came there for 2 weeks, just sitting on the bench, like practicing, sitting on the stairs, like watching the hockey. And then they sent me back to the East Coast and never called me again. Like, it's for me like tough question, and the biggest question, like why they didn't give me any chance there, because I don't know, before the new year my statistic was well, and everything goes well there, and coaches reporting me when mm, I, I did it pretty well there, so
You got a positive feedback, yeah.
yeah
Mhm.
yeah
Yeah,
it was
so
like this.
So the season itself was in the ECHL was also successful for you. You were selected for the All-Star game as elite prospects.
Yeah.
So how this event looks like in the ECHL?
There was I actually didn't remember, but something like there was mm, the fans from Adirondack make some crazy numbers of voids. I don't know why. Like, I didn't do there like anything impossible. I just play hockey. I just like maybe there was like 5 games, 5 fights for me once at beginning of the season, because I came there. I was I mean, like, I'm European guy, and every North American player thinks they have to beat some shit from you. If you're from Europe, I don't know why, like, but it's true. And they start, like, every game they start chirping me, they start pushing me, they start hitting me, and the guys on the bench, like, hey, you're a big guy, you 100% you can fight. And I didn't even know I can fight before this season, and I just have to. And maybe this fans thinks you have to go to the All-Star game. I don't know why, like, but yeah, they void for me like a lot. That's what I know.
It was fun to watch.
What?
Maybe it was fun to watch. So
maybe I don't know, maybe yeah, because I every time I try to speak with fans, I never like like the guy who's like dressing and go home, like straight home. Every time like staying there and speak with fans, I try to make like some photos and stuff like that. So.
In Oświęcim, you are one of the fans' favorites, so that's
Wow.
why maybe, yeah, I can as a fan I can tell that easily. So maybe the same happened in the USA, but the USA itself, how do you remember the country, the hockey?
No, there was a crazy change. Like I said, the crazy change in my life, because everything is different. Everything. I mean, like, the hockey is different, locker room is different, life is different, everything. Because it's first time I go somewhere by myself. I mean, like, for for 10 months, I was there like just by myself, and I have to learn how to cook. I have to learn how to live alone, you know. It's all on. That was all on me. Like I have to wash my everything, my clothes, everything. You know, that stuff. It's not. It's not difficult, but when you never, I mean, like when you never did it before,
Yeah.
you have to do something like that. So I have to figure it out, and yeah, life is there. It's, you know, it's just a different. Uh, People are people, like I mean, everywhere it is the same. It's pretty same. Like I mean,
Mhm.
it's not aliens there or something like that, but the mental thing is different as well. And yeah, I have to. There's a there's a different, and I need time to to figure it
Adapt.
out. Yeah, so.
And what about the language? Did you know the English well when you were going to ECHL or?
Not really, not really, because yeah, my dad is translator, and he's never pushed me with the language, you know,
Mhm.
because in school program in Belarus is so bad. I mean, I mean, like you finish the school, you can't even speak English. Like I mean, 5% of, you know, and you go somewhere and you really cannot speak with anybody in English, and I don't know, I don't know how, but yeah, for first 2 or 3 months was tough for me because I started to learn something. I started to learn like that times, you know, in English, a lot of times that rules and stuff like that. But for me, like if you know a lot of words, you can speak like
You can
so,
communicate.
yeah. Not speak, yeah, but communicate, yeah. So not bad, but not good, you know. When I was there, like that was good for me for learning English as well.
Yeah, yeah. That this was also the part of my question, that this time in USA allowed you to raise your language level, and now you can easily communicate with
Yeah,
a lot of
so
players from different countries. For example, in Unia.
yeah. Maybe I was there for only for this. So you know, you never know what life bring you to tomorrow.
And what have you missed the most in USA?
Ah, that's a big question because you know there was I played at small city, even smaller than Svensson, so there was a like hockey arena, Walmart, Subway, and McDonald's, and that's it. I mean, like I don't know. Once my agent invited me to his apartment in Miami, and me and my friends came there, and we was there during the Christmas break. There was cool holidays there. There was a really cool time and great experience because like ocean is unbelievable, beach is unbelievable, apartment was unbelievable as well, and you know, but I can find something what I really missed in USA. Probably nothing.
Okay.
I'm gonna miss something more in Poland for sure, like Zurich or something like that.
Okay. To the dishes, we will talk. We'll talk about the dishes a little bit later. But yeah, that's a good start. That's a good start. And yeah, after the season in USA, you've returned to Belarus. Then you played in the KHL, in the VHL also. And what was missing for you to stay at the KHL level longer?
It's better to ask my defenseman coach there because I didn't know. Like you can ask the guys who was in the team with me, like they was upset as well when he start to like bully me, or I don't know how to call it, but you know, like everything was start was good. I mean, like preparation time during this summer, he was like, "Yeah, you doing well. You doing well. Like keep going, keep going." Like I was like, "Okay." I knew I was a young guy. I have to battling for roster in the big league. So in a flagman team, I mean, like that's the only one team who play in a big league in Belarus, and you know, and I came there. I started to battling like everywhere in locker room and on the ice, on the games, on the practice, everywhere. And one day he just didn't put me on the line anymore, and I have to change the team. But for me, like if you don't give some ice time to player, he can't show up. Like like no chance. If before he's sitting on the stairs like 5 game, and then on the next game they change you and you played like 1.5 minute. What should you like? What have you show? I don't know. I have to take the puck and like go through everyone and score the goal on my first shift in the big league. No chance. There was like fun story. My first game in the KHL. We played against Jokerit and we lose like 5 or 6-0 home opener game, like 15,000 on the stairs, and we lose 0-5 something like that. And my my first shift, they just dump the puck. I just get the puck, make D to D behind the net. Then we go to the offensive zone. Our forward shoot the puck. I just join the rush, and that's it. Then I go to the bench, and that was my first and last shift. Yeah. That really surprised me. And after that, like we go into the Slovan to Slovakia to road trip, and I came to the coach's office. I was like, can you explain me, please, why it's like, I mean, I didn't do anything bad. I didn't do anything good. Like, there was shift, just like
Shift
regular.
to remember.
Yeah, for me, that was for all time, like for all my life. I remember this. And he was like, you didn't give me that confidence. I didn't see that confidence in you, in your moves. I was like, what kind of confidence you talking about? I just played 25 seconds and that's it. He was like, you have to take that back, like move solid instead. I was like, okay, I understand. Yeah, that was, I didn't understand it till today. But it is what it is.
Yeah. After the KHL, it's finally Oświęcim. KHL, VHL, yeah. Then you went to play for the Soccer Kyiv, and then you arrived week before the season started, if I remember correctly, in Oświęcim. It was the beginning of end of August, beginning of September. Yeah. You, Kristaps Jakobsons, and one defender from Slovakia, if I remember correctly.
Czech Republic.
Or Czech Republic, Jakub Brejčak.
I don't remember the name.
Yeah. I don't remember correctly also. How did this move happen? Because you came like just before season start. You and Kristaps, and 2 years later you were the starting defensive line in finals game 7. So this story is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, you never know what life prepare for you. Yeah, that was like, I came to another VHL team that summer.
Tambov.
Yeah, there was like this general manager from Tambov called me when I was I was at home, and he was like, come to our team. We make a good team for first time. We want to make the playoff first time, so we try to make the strong team. So come to our team, and like salary is gonna be good. Like bonuses is gonna be good. Like equipment, it's not a question. Like, I mean, good ice rink, good city, good. Everything, but that's only on the paper. That was good only on the paper. When I came there was literally like I don't know the word, but it's really, that was awful, like no equipment, no, even we didn't have even sweet water on during the practice. And when we asked the massage guy why you didn't make the sweet water, he was like, "What? I first time hear about it. We never make it here." I was like, "Okay." And that's not the only one question. So we have to, like, if you know someone who can change the equipment, I mean, like, you have to call to Moscow and ask the guy who sell the equipment if he have your side of the skates, and you have to do it by yourself. And the pro hockey team, can you, like, that's, and then like he promised me, you're gonna play like power play, penalty killing everywhere, like I promise you. Like, I was like, okay. and then we go for some exhibition games with some tournament, and coach didn't even put me like power play, no power play, no penalty kill, no, just like even strength. And I was like, I came to the general manager and I was like, I'm not a 17 years old guy, you know, like I played before, like on the World Championship, I play in the KHL, so maybe like speak with the coach because you invite me here, like, and I trust you. He's like, okay, and we go to another tournament, same story there. And after the tournament, I came to his office. I was like, we have to cancel the contract because I'm not gonna stay here, like 100%. And he's like, yeah, okay, because coach, like, expect for you, like, a little bit different game. I was like, yeah, okay, just cancel the contract, just going home. Cause
They knew well in the league, so
yeah,
what
there
did
was,
they expect? Yeah.
if, like, you know, that's his question. I know my level, like, and that's it. I just cancel the contract and go home. And after that, I called the guy who's coaching the goalie in Tychy right now. A Belarus guy. He was agent. I don't know if he's still the agent right now, but I called him and I was like, I knew he signed the guys in European Championships, and asked maybe you have something for me, and he called me back in a couple hours probably, something like that. Maybe next day, I didn't remember actually, and he was like, yeah, Unia Svensson needs defenseman, and I hear about Unia because I've got the offer from Unia like 3 or 4 years before.
Oh.
Yeah, but that was before Dynamo Minsk when I go there second time. So like, you know, of course, like for me.
KHL was
no-brainer. I was like 24, 23 years, and I still want to play on the top level on the KHL. Like, I mean, like I want to play on the top level even today, but you know, you know, we understand. Like, and I was like, okay, I wanna come to Oswiecim, and he's like, yeah, of course, like, but they got that thing what you have to get on the tryout contract. I was like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, that's gonna be the 2 games against Vsetin and against Novi Targ.
Torun.
Or Torun, yeah, something like that.
Not
just play your game and they're gonna sign you, I'm pretty sure. And I just like, okay, because there was the end of August and I have to sign somewhere for playing.
For the season,
yeah. So, and I signed here.
Okay, and did you have any before the trial or after any contact from the other Polish teams, or it was...
No.
It was
not
just...
before and after. No. Just there was only Oswiecim.
Okay, yeah, because actually when I was preparing to the interview, I've read some articles about that tryout, and there was some comments that, yeah, those new guys about you and Kristaps, oh, we don't need such guys, the foreigners need to be better than our guys. I would like to ask them now what they want to say after those 2 years when you are champions, and as I said, the first defensive line and the Polish league when you came. How does it differs from the other? Because you've played in KHL, as you said, you were in AHL, ECHL. How does it differs not only from the hockey perspective, but also from the organizational perspective also?
It's a little bit different as well, because I mean, like in Russia and Belarus, it's more like, you know, Soviet Union hockey. Like, it's a lot of passes, a lot of all that stuff. And here, what I like, a lot of guys from different countries. I mean, like Finnish guys, Swedish guys, Czech, Slovakian, Polish, Latvian, lot of nations here, and every nation try to play theirs hockey, you know. Swedish guys, like, more skilled, like Finnish guys as well, like North American guys, they try to put the puck on the net, and you have to choose your style of the game every shift, because, you know, like, now, okay, now I go against the Finnish line, okay, next shift I go on against the Swedish line, and it's tough, but it's really fun to play here. And what about the organization? Here, I don't know how is the different teams, but here in Svensson, it's for me it's pretty good organization. Like nothing like because I was in a really bad organization, and I can tell you like Svensson is pretty good. We did well.
About that players from different countries, you about in interview for the Belarus hockey portal, you called it country salad.
Yeah, that's like
And
yeah, it is.
I like that because
Yeah, it is.
it's a good sentence about the Polish league actually. And what surprised you the most after coming to Poland? Also both from the hockey related and off the ice, let's say.
Like on the ice, like I said, like because you have to be
Mhm.
prepared every shift because you never know what to expect. Because one guy can shoot, one guy can skate, one guy can pass, and it's like all the lines because the coach is trying to put nation on the line, especially like Nick. he make the finish line, and they stay the same all season.
From
So
the exhibition to the very
yeah,
last
yeah,
game.
that's true. And so it's like it's interesting. That's not surprised me, but it's that was interesting for me to watch, like to play against. And off ice, it's like like Kanye West song "Close on Sunday."
Yeah.
So he make it probably for Poland because like here everything closed on Sunday, and during the season we've got a lot of day offs at Sunday, and you have
There's nothing
nothing to do here. We just came to the parks, just walking around the house. Like I don't know. So it's that was really surprised me. Like everything closed, but sometimes you have everything open on Sunday, but it's like couple times during the year.
Yeah,
So
it's three or
Yeah.
or four times during the year.
you
Yeah,
have to figure
Yeah.
out, like check the
the calendar.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like this from since few years. So
yeah.
uh, yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I didn't expect such an answer. Okay, and also in that interview for the Belarus hockey, the portal from your home country, you told that the last year that the semi-final series against the Tychy
Mm-hmm.
was the most interesting in your career. So what
Yeah.
would you like to change it maybe after
Yeah,
this year's
now
playoffs?
now it's changed 100%. And yeah, I never like I played final, but before like in Belarus, but that was a different story for sure. Here it's like now I've got a different role on the team, and you feel that responsibility, and there was a you guys see that everything happens there. Like that was crazy. Like game 7 final game on their building. That's unbelievable emotions. And now this officially is toughest series in my life, an interesting series in my life. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this game 0-0 after the regulation and then to the overtime,
Crazy.
waiting and waiting for the golden goal. And what was your feeling after the Mark Kalajnikov was scored?
I didn't even see the goal because I just dropped the puck to Carl and just go straight to the bench because like there was only mission, like because I spoke with a lot of guys on the team, and everyone was so tired, and all your mission was like just give good pass and go to the bench, like 15-20 seconds, that's all you got because like everyone was really tired. And I just dropped the puck and just came to the bench, just sit for like 2 seconds, and then I saw like everyone drop the gloves, drop the helmets. I was like, no way, it happens now. Okay, I have to do it as well. I just and it's you didn't understand this in the moment. You just dropped the gloves, you came there, and you can't even celebrate it because you don't have anything, you don't have emotion, you don't have any power anymore, and you just good. It happens like finally, and after maybe 2-3 days you start to understand it, and he was like, yeah, we make the
We
big
did it.
deal, big thing for everything, for everyone. Yeah.
I personally I've stand near the John Murray goal, and I remember only Mark getting the puck, and then me being in the middle of the ice. Nothing in between, basically.
Yeah.
Then I talked with Patrick, my colleague from the podcast, and he asked me, "Do you remember
Nobody remembers.
how he scored?" I was like, no, no, I don't. I had to watch it on the replay on my phone, and then it was like this, because emotions also for fans were so big, and going back to that final series, game 1, your skate cut the face of Kristaps Jakobsson. So how was you aware what happened?
No, I didn't even know that was me. Like after like 2 days after the game, we got that pictures of the game from that photo guy. I don't know, but doesn't matter.
Yaroslav Fedor.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw my skate like on the slot, and I was like, it's really me, because Kristaps didn't even know, like, he as well, because he's standing there and he's like, I just feel something in my face, then I see, and like blood all over the ice, like all over the jersey, everywhere. And there's like Olsen came to the Linus and started trying to
clean up the ice.
Yeah, to pick the puck, and I just started battling with him, and he just fall down, and I just fall down on him, and my skate just go up, and there was like half a second, like this. If I knew it before, I never started battling with him, because it's it's still like 5 centimeters cut on Kristaps' face, and I apologize, but I don't know.
It was pure accident. So
yeah, I know, but I don't know if he's.
Mad at you.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably no. I hope so.
Yeah, because basically I was watching the game on TV, and also the commentators, the fans, there wasn't a replay showing what happened. Maybe after, like, I don't know, after the period, probably there was a replay from the side that your skate is going through. So close to the eye, and it looked really terrible. And then the very next day, as you said, there was a photo of Kristaps going with the face cut. And when I saw him the very next day playing, I was like, oh man, this is playoff hockey.
Yeah,
there are no regrets, and
he looks so scary after that. Even before he looks scary, he looks like a maniac, like like skinhead, and like he watching you like this every time, and now he got the cut like this on the face, and now he's
but as I said, it was pure accident, but it looked terrible. Even more after what happened in the British League.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people were a little bit scared, and let's go back to some happy things, because we got to a little bit different topic, but also about that final series. What do you think was a key factor for you to win it all?
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be some point or some turning fact, like our coach tell us, like, during the season, especially during the playoff, our power was on the team. Like, when we stick together, we can beat any team on this league, and that was true, because like some team got the really good like players. I mean, like we got as well, like, but I mean, like some team, like especially like Tichy, Lesharchik, if he's in a good shape, they win the games. If he's not, nothing in there. So I mean, like, you know what I'm talking about. But Menunia, Svensson, there was our strong was on team game. Team, like everything about team. Like, and Nick told us all season, like team, because like yeah, we got the skill guys, we got the big guys, but we have to be together every time, and it's works. It really works. So for me, it's like this. Maybe I cannot say like we win first game and that was a turning point, and we win the sixth game 5-0 and that was turning point. It's not for me. Maybe we finally win the Tichy series and that was a turning point. But for me, there wasn't turning point, and all about the teamwork, and we make.
From my perspective, the turning point was Game 7 against Cracovia in quarterfinal, because there were a lot of doubts last years, even before you came to Oświęcim, that there is lack of some kind of, I don't know, character in Unia team that always in such big moments, I don't know, final games or Game 7s, the Unia wasn't able to win and to show that team spirit as you came, and then in series against Cracovia, the team that was picked by Unia actually, that 1-0 game, I think that this is the turning point.
And maybe because we've got that 7-game experience, because Katowice didn't get any experience in 7-game. I mean, this playoff, maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say,
And that game also end up 1-0.
Yeah.
Not in the overtime, but it was like 52 minutes
at the end of the game.
When Olson Trukulja scored that game-winning goal. So this is my opinion, but as you said, and I staying in that finals after Mark scored. There is a one moment in my mind that after Krystian Dziubiński and Sebastian Kowalówka got the trophy, then they came to the guys who've all celebrated. Then the trophy was going hands to hands, and then finally received it and surprised everyone, because you wasn't like posing to the photos and then celebrating, but you took the trophy and went to the baseline to show it to your wife and your brother. What can you tell about the moment?
For me, it's easy question, because you they deserve it, because they helping you, they do a lot of things for you during the season. I mean, like my wife, my daughter, my family, my dad and mom, they came here like during the season couple times to support me. Like my brother support me all the season. Like he helped me if I needed, I help him if he needed. Like of course my wife, my daughter, that's crazy support. So for me, they deserve it. Like they deserve it first. Like of course, like photography guys deserve it as well, but I mean, like for me, they deserve it. Like of course, fans deserve it, but that first emotion, they deserve it, because when it was a path like 1 year and you win something, you have to give them something, that emotions for they see like it's not just season, it's winning season, so it's big for me. Family first, so.
That's a very, very, very good and very, let's say, positive answer. And okay, let's leave that finals aside. Let's go to the other topic. So you've played in multiple leagues in the world, in the USA, as we said, in KHL, and what can you tell about the fans in Poland? How are they compared to the others?
That's different. That's something different. I never seen the fans like in Oswięcim. Never in my life. I swear to God. Like it's I don't know. Like even when I played at KHL in Minsk, there's like 15,000 fans, but it's not even close, Of course, they like start yelling your name when you score the goal, but I never scored in the KHL. But it's still, I hear like when someone scored the goal, they yell in his last name. It's cool, but it's not even close like this. The guys like getting crazy when they came to the rink, and it's really in my career, I can tell the first time they was a sixth player on the ice. They was like, it's true. So much support like everywhere. I mean, like of Instagram, Facebook. Then like they waiting for you after the games. Like they say only the good stuff. Like try to support you when you need it. Like that's. And of course, during the games, that performances that shows they make, that's unbelievable. You have to see it. Like I cannot explain it. Like if you have to watch the games, like you have to watch the sector of defense for understand it. So
maybe you should play with the GoPro on
why
on your
not?
helmet.
Yeah.
To show it. Yeah.
GoPro, call me.
Yeah, I've seen because the officials are often in some leagues in Czechia, for example, but players I haven't seen.
Yeah.
On the pro level. Yeah,
No,
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would
of
be
course,
interesting. Okay, so and who was the best player that you played with in one defensive line? Not only in Unia but throughout your whole career.
Defensive?
Yeah.
Only defender, yeah.
You played in pair.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of guys. Like, I mean, if the biggest name probably when I played the exhibition game in Calgary, there was Mark Giordano for a couple shifts, but it's still, I mean, like a lot of guys. I played in the World Championship with Dmitry Korobov, the guy who got the I don't know how many championship and how many games in the KHL. The Vladimir Denisov, the great defensive player, like defensive D, like who really can hurt the guys, you know, and he good defender as well. Like this year, like I can say, like that's the best partner I've got a couple years, like Kristaps Jakobsons. We just at the end of the season, like especially in the playoffs, we understand each other. Like we just can look at each other and
you didn't talk.
Yeah. I swear to God, it works like this. Like when we start to play, like I didn't remember January and February, something like that. January. We just talk to each other a lot of. I mean, off the ice, like what we have to do, like some advice during the game, like some calls, like you know something, and after it really works. Like because at the end of the season, at the end of the playoff, we can even talk to each other on the ice. We just look at each other and he know like don't pass me or pass me right now. So it's there was a cool chemistry between us, and he's probably one of the as well.
So that was a good call by the coach to put you together.
Yeah.
In the middle of the season.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and how would you describe the coach, the Nick Zupancic, his coaching style compared to the other coaches that you worked with?
For my opinion, he's a great, like for me, first of all, it's important, like he's a great person, you know. That's for me, that's the most important question. Like you can be the unbelievable coach, but if you speak to your players like with the dirt, it's doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, like the guys don't want to you be the coach on this team. So like he's a great person. For my opinion, he's a great coach because he achieved that goal. Like it's all about this, and I never seen it before, like because I never got the European guy coach me. I mean, like there was a North American guys, there was Russian or Belarus guys. That's a different because it's all about the result there, you know. And Nick, he's different because he's tried to make that learning process. You can make mistakes, no problem, but not like every time it can't be the same mistake. Like you have to understand that nobody yelling at you, nobody throwing something on you like it was in Russia, like easily. Almost every game, like the coaches get crazy there. Like if you do something wrong, like that's like good performance in the locker room between the periods, you know. But yeah, that's and he's like during the season, even when they play like so bad. I mean, like I remember the game in Novi Targ.
Mhm.
We after the first period we win 3 or 2-0, and then we lose the game like 2-5 or something like that, or 2-6. And he came to the locker room after the second period and he was like, "Hey guys, if you don't want to work, don't work. I don't care." He just walked out from the locker room, and we was like, "Hey, come on guys, we can't play like this anymore, because like it's crazy." And he's never you start to understand the thing better when nobody yelling at you, you know.
Mhm.
And for me, like for this point of my career, he's one of the best coach I ever had in my career.
So he's as calm in the locker room as he's on the bench.
Yeah, maybe even calmer. You know, he's like, yeah. Sometimes there was maybe twice he start to not even yelling, but he start to
Raising his voice.
a little bit, yeah, a little bit louder, but it's nothing crazy, you know. But I told you, I never seen it before, and like we see, it really works.
Okay. And about you, because you told about that defensive defenseman, how would you describe your play style? What is your biggest advantage?
It's better to ask Nick. I don't know. For me, it's maybe not wrong, but it's, you know, that's question about you have to ask coach. But like for me, I can do everything on the ice. It's not I'm not the type of player who's like playing on the blue line and cannot play in a defensive zone, or you can play in defensive zone, and you cannot play on the blue line and the offensive zone. So if coach need, I can play power play. If coach need, I can play PK. It's like universal defending. Like for me,
Two-way.
of course, yeah, two way. Like you have to be first of all, you defenseman. You just don't let the guys put the puck on the net, on your net, like you know, and that's your job. Like of course, if you can't score like 20 goals in the season, you're gonna play in the NHL, but you're a good D as well. But you know, for me, like yeah, you have to be universal, especially now that hockey, and sometimes, you know, now is power play and PK. It's a decisive point in the game, like especially in the playoffs. So you have to play both sides. You have to handle both ways, in offensive play and defensive play. Sometimes you have to hit the guys. Sometimes you have to fight the guys. Not in Poland, but in different leagues. You have yeah. So like for me, I can do a lot of things on the ice. So. But better ask me.
Okay, yeah. you told about not letting the guys put the puck in the net. Yeah, you were successful in that, because this season and last one you were one of the top in plus minus among the league. So yeah, this thing I think tells that yeah, you are
and this,
very good from the
this
from
final,
the
me and Kristaps, we didn't how was that? We didn't get any puck to our net during the whole finals. During the finals, so yeah, we didn't lose any goals. So
that was maybe the turning point.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and what is the music hit in Unia's locker room?
We've got a couple of DJs. It's Miloš Navarita,
DJ Navarita and DJ Vana. We know them.
They both did unbelievable work during the season. We don't have any like hit or something like winning songs, anything, but they did a pretty good job. You know, they put that Kizo on the speakers.
Yeah.
He's that crazy guy, but he's like, but all imports loves him. I don't know why, like me as well. It's fun to see him on Instagram, and he's like drinking champagne on the boat like every weekend. It's like it's fun to.
Yeah. So you are a follower.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We've seen you on the Instagram. Singing "We Are the Champions" very well in the bus, so you are also a talented from the musical point of view for sure. Yeah.
I try my best.
Okay, and who is your best buddy among the Unia players?
Really tough to say, because this season we've got a really good group of guys. We've got a really I don't know, like import guys, maybe Vilu Haikinen. He's a lot of guys, I mean, but the guys who's speaking a lot during the season, yeah, that's Vilu, probably Kristaps, of course, Mark Kalenikovs, of course, because we speak Russian, but he's a good guy. Andrei Deniskin as well. Polish guys, like everyone is a great person, but like Kshemyan, Miloš as well, like Dubek, Koval, Stary, который. Yeah, everyone is. It's really tough to say, because a lot of guys, like there was a great group of guys. That's the reason we win the cup. So
You imports are calling Sebastian Stary Koval?
Nie. Ja tak. Tam иные przeklęstwa.
Okay. I won't ask them.
Okay.
Okay. But what is the difference comparing this year's team from last year's team in Unia?
Tough to say. Like I don't know. Like it's really tough question, because last season I can't say we've got a bad team or like bad group of guys or bad system, because we got the same coach. But I don't know, maybe we was trying to do our best, like in this season, we just lose the game 7 Tichy. So that's the reason. That's the only one question. So for me, I don't know, but it's better this year, but I can say there was terrible last season. I don't know. It is
only a small change.
Yeah, just small change. Just maybe right guys came to the team and we achieved the goal.
Okay, and how does that locker room looks like from the imports point of view? Because we have talked with a lot of Polish players from Unia, but what would you say as an import? This is one group, or you are, I don't know, somehow divided in small groups regarding the country, or?
Yeah, of course. You're gonna speak more in your language, of course. Like even if you've got the guys speaking your language, of course. But this season, like in last season, I mean, like we trying to speak, especially me, because I gonna say like from myself, and I try to speak with everyone. Like I try to speak with Poland guys on Polish language. I really try. So za 2 roka zrobim na polskim języku. Na polskim, okay.
Zrobimy.
Tak, zrobimy. Dobra. And I don't know, like all the guys speak to each other, like during the game, before the game, even the guys go to that new Vietnamski restaurant. It's across the road in Kaufland there. So even before the practice, they're going together, like Polish guys and Finnish guys, Swedish guys, all together. That's true. So it's not like the other team I hear. Like I'm not gonna call the name of the teams, but the guys, like the Polish guys, one group, like the imports guys, the other group, Japanese guys. I just kidding. You know.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, and how do you like Oświęcim as a city? How do you find it?
For me and my family, it's pretty good. Like I mean, we've got everything we need here.
Close
Really.
on Sunday.
But close on Sunday, yeah. But it's not even not only in Oswiecim. So I mean, like we got everything. Like we got some stores. We got if you need some more, you can take your car and go like 1:15, and you're in Krakow 40 minutes, and you're in Katowice, and you know, maybe of course, like maybe if here it's gonna be like more restaurants or something to do more, like it's gonna be better, but it is what it is. But for my opinion, for my family, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, because you've bring also your brother Anton
Yeah.
to Oświęcim. He's
Yeah.
playing as a goalie for the academy team for Sabres.
Yeah.
So what was the reason of that transfer and how does it happen?
Oh, he asked me like during the summer break. He asked me like maybe you can help me to sign somewhere in Europe. I was like, I gonna try, but it's tough to put the goalie with Belarusian passport, especially right now. You know, somewhere in Europe, and I just speak with the guys here, and they. I just wanna say thank you because they really help. Like the coach here, the the management I spoke with, like they make it like really quick, like everything. Like I just called there, and in couple days they put them on the list on the team to the preseason camp. So it's like really thank for them. And he don't want to play in Belarus and Russia because he was playing there, and like he just want to try something else. Yeah, especially here, and it's like, you know, it's close to home, like, and a little bit different league, but it's still like a lot of Ukrainians there. He asked me, hey, maybe at the end of the season I start to speak Polish. I was like, no chance. But he's doing well because he's studying here in university. So yeah, he just tried to play here, like in Europe.
Okay,
that's it.
Okay, and about you on the ice, we've seen you tough, not giving up, can protect your teammates. And how about you off the ice? How would you describe yourself? Maybe we should ask your wife.
Yeah, it's better to ask. It's better to ask my wife for sure, but I don't know. You can ask the guys from the team as well. I'm not the aggressive person at all. Like I like the kindest guy you can meet. Like for me, I don't know what have to happens in like regular life for me, like getting mad. You know, it's tough to do like with me. I don't know. I just try to be the good person. You know, like because I've got a daughter, and she's need to see she's dad as a good dad, good person, you know, and good hockey player as well.
Of course. And apart from hockey, what are your hobbies? What do you do in your spare time?
Really, that's a lot of free time right now, and it's the second year I try to figure the cryptocurrencies out. I watch like everything I can. I read everything I can. It's really interesting for me, and we'll see what happens.
So you are focused on the finances
during the summer, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and for the future, what are your plans? Are you staying in Unia in Poland? Can you tell? Do you know something?
I really want to stay here. And we've got a meeting with the Mariusz, our director, and I told him like my what I wanna get here, and he told me when he want to give me, you know, and we like I know it's not that wasn't our last meeting, so we're gonna meet each other maybe not the only one time, maybe 2 3, like you never know. But yeah, I want to stay here because I love the city, I love the club, I love the fans, I love everything here, and it's great experience for me, and I meet the new friends here, and I want to stay here. But like I said every time, like, you know, sportsman career, it's too short, and you cannot miss the opportunities, and you have to, at the end of the day, you have to earn the money, because like 7 maybe less years and you're done, you're retired, and you have to earn something. But it's, of course, like chains and cup, it's important thing, and it's important for you, it's important for everyone, for city, for club, who waiting for this 20 years. But you have to earn something, and you have to, like, you can miss that opportunity.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomek.
Okay, and at the end of the interview, we have a little surprise for you. You have a chance to get Roman's jersey. So maybe I will explain in Polish.
Okay.
Licytacja koszulki meczowej Romana, jeszcze pachnącej finałami, mającej wszystkie otarcia przez cały sezon. Więcej informacji, jeśli chodzi o licytację, będzie, gdy ten odcinek zostanie opublikowany wspólnie z Romanem. Tutaj będziemy tą licytację, można powiedzieć, promować. Oczywiście pieniążki z tego pójdą na szczytny cel. Charity, dokładnie.
Yeah.
Także jeśli chodzi o wywiad, to już wszystko. Dziękuję bardzo, Roman.
Dziękuję.
I zapraszamy Was jeszcze na szybki strzał.
Dawajcie.